Okay, sorry, I was saying I couldn't get on TikTok, but I am on TikTok. Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Water Cooler. I am Sarah from Texas, and this is our place to chat all the there's really no celebrity news, is there? Anyways, I was getting some stuff down around the house, so maybe I haven't checked my TMZ or Page 6. Been a while, but reality TV that we love, which was Salt Lake City season 5 premiere last night, and of course today's Jeff Lewis Live and Jeff Lewis Extended. I feel like this shingles. I am getting better. So thank you so much that have been giving me good information, telling me the hope, telling me about your stories, telling me how to get better, all of the things. I definitely feel, I forgot to put my earrings back on after I showered. I definitely feel like I'm doing much better. I just feel like from having COVID or whatever I had the day after the live event, the Phoenix event, from traveling, and then the day after Labor Day, coming down with the headache and then being diagnosed with shingles. It's just been, life is busy. So I'm trying to get all the things done. And, I like to clean up my front yard, my front porch on in the fall when the weather's getting a little bit better, although it's like 88 as I was sitting on the back patio this morning drinking some coffee, the first coffee I've had in probably 2 or 3 weeks or more, and it was going to be 90 this afternoon. So it is a nice, beautiful, sunny day here. Oh my goodness. Michael Riley is chatting about a product that I tried to give away. The Soiree cocktail, delicious. Margaret Joseph's product really is delicious without alcohol. It is. I won a 4-pack. So they're sold in 4-packs unless they changed last December. So no, last December, 2023. What the hell year is this? I have no idea. 2023. No, 2022. No idea. Whenever I was at Margaret Joseph's event, she had like a game and I went up on the stage and won a 4-pack. But I was flying back and I only had a carry-on. So I couldn't bring them because it's liquid. Anyway, so I opened one and had like one drink, but it wasn't even cold. And then I left them for my girlfriend and she was there on business in New York. So I doubt she even ever tried them. So anyways, but good to hear that Michael Riley is trying them and they're really good. Shout out everybody. May boo, it's 24 degrees and it's usually 18. Well, is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? Like, don't get me to thinking that, I don't know what that means. We usually have 24 degrees, which is unusual as it's usually 18. You're going to have to explain because I clearly don't know. Hey, Tiffany Chomp and Lori and Mary, everybody over on YouTube, everybody on Instagram and TikTok. Thank you so much for joining live. Make sure you get comfortable, chat and comments. We love to hear what you say. I do leave time at the very end for kind of open-ended questions, but chat amongst yourselves, as people would say, right? Oh, Beverly says hello from sunny New Jersey. I can't think of New Jersey without thinking of our Jameson, and Alyssa's from there too. Hey, Nick James, how are you? Okay. Y'all did let me know, maybe during our live yesterday or after, I don't even know, that Kelly Dodd was on Teresa Guidice's Reddit is currently down, like the whole website, the whole app. No idea. Maybe some people finally realized. Anyways, okay, who cares? Somebody told me that Kelly Dodd was on Teresa Guidice's podcast. And I was like, well, dang. At the time, it had been out like 5 hours, or at least had been posted to their YouTube 5 hours. I like watching it on YouTube if I have the option. So I went, and then they posted in the Facebook group. So I went and listened. I watched it. It's only 30 minutes. Man, I made a video. So watch the video if you just want a 1 minute, summary of it, but it is worth watching. I mean, it's awkward. They're not friends. I mean, Teresa sorry, I didn't even brush my teeth. I just finished that ham sandwich. So I'm feeling like there's probably bread in my teeth and I'm kind of grossed out about it. But anyways, because when you eat and your mouth feels that. Okay. Teresa didn't do any research. Whoever is helping her with her podcast, this is not a brand new podcast. Yet the production value, yet the lack of prep work. It was just awful. The editing, somebody's cell phone is like dinging in the back. You hear this ding, when someone gets a notification, it's like ding. Nobody says, I don't know if it was Kelly's. I can't imagine, because I think Rick has trained Kelly, hey, we go live every day, 5 days a week. We do a Patreon, we do a YouTube. It was probably Teresa's. But is there nobody sitting in this podcast room that Louis built at his house for him, but he now lets Teresa use it for turning the tables with Teresa Giudice? She's got 15 episodes up, but she also did a podcast with Melissa Feimster before this called Namaste Bitches. Remember the merch? Remember? Every freaking episode of last season's New Jersey, she was hawking that merch. And that did not age well, because since that show finished filming, they had a huge falling out around April, May. The falling out was, the show ended abruptly around April, May. And it's gone. You can't even find it anymore. Maybe there's, bootleg, but it's not even up as a podcast. And there's no harsh feelings between them. Anyways, they did talk mom talk. At some points, it does feel like Kelly's kind of leading the interview, like it's more her podcast. They talk about how expensive it is to be a housewife, like the clothes, the living up to that lifestyle. But Kelly asked if Real Housewives of New Jersey is going to come back for another season. And the pause of all pauses from Teresa. I was almost surprised that whoever edited this didn't edit that out, because it made it like she really had no idea. Almost, I couldn't figure out. Y'all let me know in comments if you watched it or listened to it. Trust me, it's better to watch it. Trust me. You see the big, the podcast, the microphone's like in Teresa's face like this. And I'm like, move it, honey. You're Teresa freaking Giudice. We want to see you. Nobody wants to see me. I'm Sarah from Texas. People want to see Teresa Giudice. They're only tuning in because you're Teresa Giudice. Move the freaking podcast mic. Anyways, but there's this huge pause, and she's like, well, I don't see it going away anytime soon, but I'm summarizing. I don't think it can go on with the cast that it has now. And then she says something like, let's see what Bravo decides. So I'm assuming this aired yesterday. I'm assuming they recorded it probably earlier this week. I don't really know. Very recently. And this is telling us in real time that Teresa, probably the biggest star of New Jersey, if you will, or, has the most haters, the most lovers, has no idea where Bravo's brain is in a reboot, keep it the same, coming back at all, whatever with New Jersey. And you would think they kind of need to know that's kind of their bread and butter. Like, I don't even think Teresa has her YouTube channel anymore where she was cooking based on the number. So I, as a podcaster, have no way, as a listener, have no way of seeing how many downloads her podcast is getting. The fact that I had not seen it promoted anywhere or seen any clips or anyone, the only person that chatted about it was somebody in the Sarah from Texas Facebook group said, oh my God, I just listened and it was awful, which of course made me want to listen. But I got to give them props. And I don't think it was awful. I feel like Kelly came through. Teresa was entertaining. Kelly came through with some tea. She talks about Alexis and John. She mentions the word blackmailing, extortion in regards to John and Alexis saying that they have these Ring camera footage, and yet they're asking for the $75. They don't want to sign the NDA, all the crap that you know about. It's worth 30 minutes. But the cuts, the edits were so it was so clear that they were cutting off whatever Kelly said. Because at one point she says something about politics, and when she got fired from Bravo, and it was like, bloop, and then she was cut. There was something else she was saying, but it was cute to hear two Bravo celebrities talk about their shows, but there was just zero. Even at the end, podcasting 101, when you have another guest on that that has something to promote, is you say, hi, make sure to tell them your Instagram, what's your podcast, tell them any upcoming movies you have, promote. And it was like, Kelly just happened to say at the very end something about, Rick and Kelly smash. And Teresa was like, oh yeah, like you do something, like, yeah, tell us about it. Like, no, you should be leading it. I felt like Kelly kind of lead. It was almost like Kelly Dodd turned the tables on her. You know what I mean? Let me know what you think. Laura Gonzalez says Terry and Kelly podcast was a disaster. Michael Riley says it was choppy. Yeah. And this is somebody with money behind her. I'm freaking in a closet, honey. I'm in a closet. One woman show here. I do everything. I have nobody doing anything for me. I comment myself. I promote myself. I don't edit. I mean, you get what you get. You don't throw a fit, but look at the price you're paying. Zero. So anyways, Mabu says, I don't think Bravo has decided yet from what Andy has said. You're right. I just kind of wondered if behind the scenes, because he hasn't really mentioned New Jersey in weeks, because I listen to him every day, and he was off for weeks. So I kind of wanted to know in real time what her reaction was. And I felt like that pause of all pauses kind of said a lot. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's worth it though. They did talk. One thing I thought about Teresa, she talks about, because she's got 4 daughters. Gia's done with college, back at home. 2 are away at college. Where are they at? Not Minnesota. Minnesota? No, Michigan. One's in Michigan. One's at University of Tampa. And then she has the 15-year-old, just turned 15-year-old home. So she was talking about that it's hard to pick her up because she used to have other, Gia or Melania, somebody else to help pick her up from school. But she was like, she gets out at 2:15, so it's kind of in the middle of the day. So if I can't pick her up, if little Louie can't pick her up, if Gia can't pick her up, then she has to walk home. Now, they kind of cut off the conversation, but I was like, ain't no kid of Teresa freaking Giudice walking home from high school. For one thing, wouldn't you have a sophomore or junior friend to give you a ride home, or another friend? Like, what? Like, you really don't have someone to, like, do kids walk home from school anymore? Okay. My children don't walk home from school, but also our high school is not walking distance at all. I don't know if their high school is walking distance or not. A lot of high schools are further for people than, say, their small elementary or junior high. But I'm saying, is Teresa Giudice is a Bravo celebrity's teenage daughter that's literally born on reality TV. Like, she puts their faces out every single day. You know what I mean? Is she walking home from school? Oh, Michael Riley, you're showing your age. I walked a mile to school and a mile home. But people did back then, if you will. I know your age. I won't say or share it. But you know what I mean? I'm saying nowadays, nobody does that. Also, 20, 30 years ago, parents weren't meeting their kids and eating lunch with them every week, or, having a birthday celebration. And now kids meet, their parents come and meet them for lunch all the time. So anyways, they have Uber for kids now. Lori Logan on TikTok says, yeah, it wouldn't shock me if some people Uber their kids home, right? Anyways. Oh, ML, what a sad human over on TikTok. Goodbye, honey. What a useless waste of your time to hate watch somebody. And then comment. Like, most of my hate watchers, most of the lovers are just silent. They're just sitting here hoping nobody sees them and calls them out. You know what I mean? They're not making comments. So anywho, Yvonne Gal says, I was waiting for Kelly to ask Teresa about the Chapter 11 bankruptcy. We know she has no filters. I mean, maybe she did. So Kelly apparently, because y'all DM me, Kelly says they recorded for an hour and the podcast was only 30 minutes. So they cut out freaking half of what they discussed, literally half. So maybe she did have something like that and it upset them and they took it off. You know what I mean? Like, crazy. I thought it was good, worth watching. Also worth listening to is, and I wish it was video, Andy Cohen live. He and John Hill, John Hill, they used to date famously for, oh gosh, how long? Have they said how long they dated? At least a couple of years. They were really serious boyfriend in a relationship. And Andy Cohen now has 2 kids. So he's basically saying something. I kind of missed it because I was, when you're getting in your car and on the AirPod, it takes a second. Some cars takes a second to lock in on the car, over the radio. So it was messing up. So I think I missed like 3 words or 3 sentences maybe that Andy Cohen was explaining And he was saying something about that friends. He's in a different phase of his life, and he feels like he's so bogged down by his 2 and 5-year-olds, which he has no idea. I don't even think his kids are if they're in activities, like I think other people are taking them while he's at work. So I don't think he's like taking Ben to karate from 7 to 8 at night. And, obviously Lucy's only 2, but my girl started dance at 3. So you can do activities at, 3. He has no idea what he's in for, but he's like being so raw and so real about him kind of feeling left out. Like other friends are just not reaching out to him, or they're not wanting to do the same things. I felt like as much as John can be sort of mean sometimes, or honest, if you will, I felt like John Hill was very understanding and like, well, just reach out to them. Don't wait for them to reach out to you. If I were Andy Cohen's friend, like growing up, or a friend for 30 years, or a friend from 5 years, he's booked and busy, and he's got 2 little kids as a single dad, and he's very hands-on. He's selling an apartment. He's finishing had an apartment being built. He just had a beach house be built. I mean, he's busy. He's doing all these things where he travels. I might be hesitant to reach out too. I'd be like, oh, he's going to tell me no. Like, that's the worst thing, is for you to reach out to somebody and then they're like, don't respond, or they're like, well, let me look at next month. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I thought it was a really good conversation. I think they go live. Well, they have a Andy Cohen live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 to 10 a.m. Texas time. I don't really know everybody else's time zones. I think Tuesday and Thursday are often pre-records, but the other ones you can tell if they take live calls, they're pretty much a live call, because if they take callers, you know what I mean? So, and they definitely took some calls about, he's still trying to figure out. I made a story on this also, so check my social media at Sarah from Texas podcast if you haven't seen this video I made of, I think, Monday's show. Yeah, today's Thursday, where he's telling a story about the weekend where he let his 5-year-old Ben take a drink of water from a cup that was from a stranger's leftovers. And he's basically saying, and then another story I made one on where this neighborhood Karen, if you will, recorded his daughter Lucy with her nanny as she was throwing a fit. And then she saw Andy on the streets of New York because they're neighbors and they walk, people see each other. And she came up to him and was like, I have some words to you about your nanny. And he was just like, but he wants permission. He wanted to know what people thought, if it was okay for next time he sees her to be like, hey, I want you to remove that video from your phone. Now, there was lots of mixed opinions on that. One called in and said, look, if you're out in the public, we can video you. He says there's a legal thing now where like TMZ, Daily Grid or whatever it's called, Back Grid, all those celebrity people, paparazzi, they are not legally allowed. Or maybe it's just that the pictures won't get bought. You know what I mean? Maybe that's just what it is. But he thinks people cannot video little kids, or cannot video or take pictures of little kids without someone else's, the parents' permission. But I really don't think that's true. I think it comes down to, is he reselling, or is she reselling that video or reselling those pictures? If she's showing it to her neighbors and all the friends, I don't know that I don't know. Again, it's getting to a point where we need we need a legal person in here every day to tell us what the scoop is, right? Anyways, it was interesting. I liked listening to the show, but I wish it was on video, just like I wish Jeff Lewis was on video live. Speaking of the video, has it come out yet? Has the Wednesday's show? Normally, Jeff Lewis video on the SiriusXM app comes out around 6 or 7 p.m. Texas time at night. I went to look this morning and it wasn't up, and I thought maybe it's my app, because everyone has a different experience with the app, and it wasn't. So I realized that somebody had already posted about it in the Facebook group. So other people are not noticing that it's up. I just haven't checked it. Okay. So Fave Stars on Instagram says, yes, it's up now. I wonder what the delay was. Was it a technical issue? Was it, Like, why do they take hours? I don't think they're editing this. Like, I think it straight goes up, right? I don't know. It's just, I'm sure people will try to find her to buy the video. Ew, Headspace XHTX. Houston, Texas says. Anyways, okay. Did you watch? I gave you homework last night. Salt Lake City, season 5, episode 1, season premiere. Oh my gosh. Wow. I didn't love the long, like 2-minute intro. I thought it was weird. I didn't like them breaking the fourth wall and basically it was weird. It was so scripted. You could tell they were like reading it. Sounded like they were doing a book read, okay. Did y'all watch 600-Pound Life? Dr. Now? And they're like, you can tell the voiceover is like, I grew up a very unhappy child. My dad left our family at 11 years old, and I eat 17 eggs, 14 pieces of bacon. I mean, it's awful. Like, I'm literally like, who is the producer here? Like, let me help y'all out. It was awful. I didn't like it at all. Whatever. Starts off, Lisa is hosting a Bezos party, basically a girls, like a Galentine, which I've been to and are so fun. Of course, hers was super fancy. Somebody posted in the BravoCon Facebook group, like that was the best Bravo party they've ever seen. And I was like, oh, my standards are way higher. Like, first of all, there's nothing about a party in February in Salt Lake freaking City that I want to be standing outside of. Like, no, nothing about that party blew me away. I mean, there's been some pretty darn good parties on Bravo. I just don't think that was one of the best ones, but I thought it was interesting that that was her take. Clearly, Vita Tequila was the sponsor. Vita was there in like lights and everything. Seems like everyone was invited to bring a friend, but some of the notable friends was Lisa brought her friend Bronwyn with the big heart. Was it a costume or fashion? And Brittany brought her, I'm sorry, who brought Brittany? Heather Gay brought Brittany. I think a couple of other people, but those were the main ones. And I think Brittany or Bronwyn, I think she's more than a friend of, right? Like Mary's not in the main Salt Lake City season 5 picture, but I feel like Bronwyn is, and maybe Brittany is a friend of. I don't know. It was a coat. Yeah, but wasn't her arms out? I mean, it wasn't even, but you saw later where it was like 38 degrees and she wore like boy shorts and a plastic coat. I don't even know what it was. Oh, I love that. Belly's Op says, I followed the friend of Melly, is that her name, on Instagram for years. She's the sweetest. Anyways, Mary was funny. She got her weird digs in. She looks like she's cleaned up her closet, her bedroom closet. I think even the green carpet had been swapped out, but I need a closer look. I need to watch better. But Whitney has a brand new house. So clearly whatever happened with her husband getting laid off, and she kind of blamed it on, maybe fired, blamed it on the backlash of her being on a reality show. I guess that's all better. Can't imagine her. What does she have? Skincare, bath bombs. What does she have? Yeah, skincare, because she was selling it at Meredith's Boutique, which I've walked by Meredith's Boutique. Not a lot in it, but that was years ago, like 3 years ago when the show was brand new. It's right off, unless they moved it, right off the main street of, not Salt Lake City, of, what's the other town? We go skiing there. What's a big ski town in New York City? It's 2 words. I know y'all are going to tell me. Anyways, thank y'all for tapping the screen and liking the live over on TikTok. I appreciate it. We have over 3,000 likes. Thank you, Lisa, for liking it. Thank y'all, everybody. Just tap the screen. It's free. Thank you. Meredith has a new rental. Why don't they buy a house? Like, I don't understand. It's not like they're moving city to city. Like, you've got roots. You're on a freaking TV show. No, not Lake Placid. Oh my gosh. Somebody tell me, I'm going to die. What is it called? Park City. Thank you. Freaking Main Street of Park City, Utah. It's beautiful. Anyways, but when they start talking about the whole bath thing of it all, I guess Whitney is being accused of coming out with a jewelry line, copycatting Meredith, which every Bravo celebrity is going to hawk anything that they think is going to make money for them, right? And then she's like, baths are my thing. Like everyone knows, I'm known for baths. So when I mentioned I was going to do a bath line, and then she did, well, honey, you slept on it. Get your shit together. Don't wait. You're not like creating. You're not like reinventing the wheel. It's a freaking bath bomb. 1 million people make it. Call up Crystal Minkoff. It's like her coconut water. She and her brother, the company, makes the coconut water, and then they relabel it all these other different brands, and then they resell it, right? So that's all people do. I mean, if I had a Sarah from Texas bath bomb, I wouldn't make the bath bomb. I would call up a distributor of bath bombs and be like, okay, now put my sticker on it and charge $1 more. Crazy. Yvonne Gal says, don't y'all think the huge price of those rentals would be pretty close to the same amount as a mortgage? Yes. But the reason people rent is because they, in general, it's pretty close, but you don't have all the fees. Because a lot of times people, I don't know what it is. Because I'm thinking of like an older home where somebody's probably paid off the mortgage. So where they're not, but she's got a really nice new home. I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why, because at first she is apparently known for renting. Now I've learned what a lot of these housewives do, especially the ones in the last 5 to 8 years, they all rent a better house than they had to look richer, look more aspirational than they really are. And they're not. They're a bunch of big fat fakers. Big fat fakers. You know what I mean? Chatty Kathy says, how many items come out at that one point you thought we could use this or that, and then years later someone acted on it? I have no idea what that means. Tell it to me again. Blame it on the shingles. I don't know what that means. Anyways, Yvonne Gal doesn't like Meredith, never has. One thing I was chatting about with someone in the DMs this morning is remember, okay, so now Meredith has admitted that she's had 3 breast reductions because for some reason she stays thin everywhere else, but her breast tissue, her own personal breast tissue, keeps growing. So she keeps getting these big knockers with, a size 2 body, and she doesn't like it. So she's had 3 breast reductions. So that's probably taken place during the time they've been filming now for 6.5 years of Salt Lake City. So remember when she was wearing what we thought looked like a breastplate? Like that was probably after she'd had a reduction, and she was still maybe getting over it, still recovering. But if she's being honest about it now, why wouldn't she have been honest about it then? Because a lot of us were like, what? She would wear these very low cut shirts. Maybe she even had one on Watch What Happens Live. I can't remember. But whatever it was, it looked so incredibly fake. Not fake was Kelly Dodd. I just thought of this. Kelly Dodd had this shirt on, I think it was yellow, when she was recording with Teresa Guidice. What is this called? Your décolletage or whatever this is. Mine looks like I'm 70, because I'm so fair skinned and sun damage. Kelly, right here, what is Kelly? 47-ish, 48-ish, and like her age. This looks 22. Literally all of this skin, whatever she's doing at cosmetic hair, whatever. Now her face looks a little more on par, but this looks amazing. Like literally, I was just staring at her chest. Like that literally looks, I don't think it's a filter. I mean, it literally looks, wow. Wait, what? Auntie says Meredith is going, well, she hasn't said she's going through menopause. I mean, because everyone goes through menopause at various ages. I don't think she said she was going through menopause, which sometimes makes your breasts grow like being pregnant. But she's had this 3 different times. I mean, a breast reduction is a huge surgery. It's not like, you know what I mean? Michael Riley says Kelly has a great body. Yes, she does. Very thin, but athletic. Well, not athletic. not like muscly. She's not scrawny. Like, yeah, Kelly Dodd is a very good body for sure. Must be the super yacht sun. Yeah, exactly. Bravo and Stone. I mean, whatever she's doing, she is putting sunscreen there when she's on Asia's yacht because she looks fan freaking tastic. Yeah, Brittany. Oh, hope that doesn't happen to me, Mayboo says. I know. Ugh. What else? Mary and the German Shepherd coat of it all. Brittany calling Bronwyn's a costume, and she and Mary both got offended because they both own the same jacket that Mary has on. So clearly they have a very similar fashion, what they spend on money. Like, there is nothing those housewives are wearing that I would have in my closet. Because if I own something fancy, it was on clearance at Tootsie's, which is 50% off or more clearance is what I mean. Like, I do not pay Alice and Olivia regular price. This shirt was probably $16.99 or $19.99 at Marshall's or TJ Maxx. Literally, I never spend more than that. Thank you for the heart, Ashley. I appreciate it. Sent a heart puff on TikTok. But it was funny. I mean, I just feel like Meredith has no right to be mad at Whitney, especially when she said, look, I've always had bath bombs. They were on my website. You just didn't sell them. You picked what you wanted to sell of my skincare, and bath bombs wasn't. So I feel like she's talking out of her ass. I also felt it was a little, I mean, it's season 5. It felt a little produced to me. Like the scroll, the Angie scroll. Like, did she make it? Did her preteen daughter make it for her? Did she order it off Etsy? Can you buy a pre-made scroll? I mean, from the Renaissance Festival or something? Like, where did the scroll come from? And why a scroll? Like, why not notes in your phone or something? But why a scroll like it's 1871? You know what I mean? It was just not even 1870. When were scrolls? Like 1600s or some shit? Anyways, it was so weird. Somebody said they can't watch if all the fighting. And I said, well, then don't watch the end of the show, because that's all they did was fight at the dinner table. It was kind of gross. And then they're asking about I got confused about Bronwyn. I guess she's married to a 65-year-old. I think she's 38. She has a 17-year-old. Then the clip before it said her son and daughter named Jack. And I'm like, well, then she didn't say she had a son. She said she had a 17-year-old daughter, but she had 2 stepsons that were like closer to her age. So then I got all confused. I don't know. Watch What Happens Live was a big fat nothing sandwich. I was very disappointed. Lisa Barlow and Molly Sims. I liked Molly Sims the couple of times that she's been on Jeff Lewis Live, and very recently, stone cold. I don't know if she was nervous, on her period, embarrassed, having a bad day. I have no idea. Did anyone else notice that? Now, granted, I don't watch much of her video. When she was on last, she was with Kristen Tateman, who she's really good friends with for a long time in the modeling world. So she was talking to her a lot during the commercial breaks. And I don't watch the videos. I just listen to them. But just no emotion. Like, Andy Cohen would ask her a question, and at some point she even said, I'm not going to answer that. I'm like, wait, you're on Watch What Happens Live. Like, you're a Bravo fan. You say you watch everything on Bravo, and yet you don't want to talk about it. But they played a game, villain it to win it. Super dumb. They changed the voice on Lisa. I was literally fast forwarding. They played, I'm not into the games. I like what's the word that you use? Not analogy, but the thing that Andy, I'm sure his writers are doing it, where they'll be like, this person, da 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 da, and this person, da 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 da. They always do a play on words, whatever that is. It's super cute. I like that they do that. I'm not into all these games, and I felt like last night was so many games. It was so many the polls. Get your phones out. I'm like, I don't know if they make money off of WWHL.TV, but I never get my damn phone out and vote. I mean, are you voting? Like, who's voting? I feel like their friends are voting. Their kids are like voting for them. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was dumb. But Lisa cleared up. A caller calls in, one of these virtual callers, and says, what is up with you losing all these rings? You lost a $60,000 ring when the cameras were on y'all in the bathroom, never found it, no idea what happened to it. And then all these reports, it was everywhere. Maybe it was a slow news day. But when New York Fashion Week was going on recently, they said that Lisa Barlow lost a $100,000 ring, like at a club or something, right? Dancing or something. Now, and then she found it, but that information didn't come out till a while. Okay, Melanie says she used to vote on the Watch What Happens Live polls when it's something I cared about. I mean, I think a lot of people are like me, and they're not even watching Watch What Happens Live anymore. Remember when it was only live? And now he does pre-records and, I mean, I don't know. I just, if it's somebody I want to watch. I don't watch if it's someone I don't know. There's just too much else on. It's just not as good as it used to be. I'm glad it's been on 15 years, but to me, it's definitely not as good as it used to be. And I doubt the ratings are as good either. Michael Riley says, I think Lisa Barlow lives in her head. Whose head? Anyways, I watch if someone good. Yes. Lori says, I watch if someone good is on. That's me. And I used to never miss a Watch What Happens Live. That was like my husband was asleep. My kids were tucked in bed and I would watch it because I think it was on at 10 o'clock in Texas. And that was my okay, let me watch this and then go pay the bills online or do some mom duties. So she says that this ring it flew off her hand and she caught it. And then she said it fell on the ground and I picked it up off the ground. Well, which is it? Like if $100,000 ring doesn't fit you well, I mean, that girl needs some knuckles like me. This knuckle doesn't let anything just easily come off. And this ring can really fly around when it gets cold. I get it because it's really even smaller there, but my knuckle keeps it on. You know what I mean? What if I have big knuckles everywhere? I don't know. Yeah, I think I have a little bit of I guess on your left hand. I don't know. I just have a big knuckle to keep my rings on. But this ain't no worth $100,000. I can't imagine having a $60,000 or $100,000 ring. Everyone is texting something about insurance fraud. You know what I mean? That's crazy. Lisa Loves Dogs says, I never vote for any of that stuff on Watch What Happens Live. It's kind of stupid if you ask me. Okay, Lisa in Kentucky with 7 dogs. Listen up, honey. You vote for Dancing with the Stars. Yes, you do. You told me. But she says, I've been watching Watch What Happens Live since the beginning and never really missed watching it, but I'm old now. Maybe is his audience aging like me? Maybe we're more tired now. You know what I mean? Ann T says, women should wear fake jewelry going out. I mean, I'm not opposed to them wearing their real jewelry, but that shit should fit, and you should walk around like that. You should, I mean, I don't know what kind of dance she's doing, but not with $100,000 ring on. Wouldn't an engagement ring not even be $100,000? I mean, she's not, Jeff Bezos money. You know what I mean? She's Lisa Barlow. She's Dr. Diet Coke. By the way, why John was behind the bar, very quiet, hawking the Diet Coke. Clearly that was a sponsor, which is fine. But it's really Lisa should be getting the money. It's not a Diet Coke thing. It's Lisa was the one with the Diet Coke relationship. But she said that on the show, she said that, with her son away in Colombia, living the bougie Michelin 5-star restaurant, going to Louis Vuitton, doing all the Mormon mission work in bougie Bogota, Colombia, apparently. She said that, she feels like empty nester. She only has the one boy at home. And then she said, John's traveling a lot. I thought John literally worked with her. I thought he didn't have another job. I thought they had this business together. So I'm kind of like, maybe he does the sales, the promoting, the marketing of the Vita tequila. I don't know. Lori 909 says, my grandma used to wear a fake diamond when she traveled. I mean, not a bad idea, but nowadays you got someone breaking into your dang house while you're gone. So, because people put on social media, oh, I'm in Italy. And then somebody, the housekeeper might be like, oh, I know she leaves her diamonds when she goes traveling. So maybe someone could break in while she's gone. I mean, these people that are rich enough to have a ring to steal of value, they've got people, they've got staff, and sometimes, they're not of good whatevers. Melanie says, if I were on a show like Housewives, I would get good fakes to wear on camera too. I think they do. I don't think some of them own real to let others know if you've got big money on your hands. Yeah. It's kind of a catch-22. It's kind of what Jeff has been talking to Joey Zalzik about in that horrific attempted break-in of his house, right? About him posting in real time and all the things. Who else is grossed out? That Monica Garcia. So right before season 5 premiered was last year's premiere or season finale, and that's where she brought out the burn book of it all, and people were like, "Oh." The fact that she made a literal scrapbook and wrote burn book SLC or whatever she wrote on the front was just so freaking thirsty is not even the word. Disgusting, gross, embarrassing, ick, like don't yuck my yum, like ugh, bleh, bleh. So gross. But she's going to be the House of Villains voice. I don't really know what that means. The guy from Community, the guy that did that one season of the show Jeff was on, what shit was that called? What's his name? The blonde comedian dude. I've seen him in concert. He's actually really funny. Okay, Nick James says the book was genius. I mean, genius? It's a takeoff of a movie. She's just so... Joel McHale. Thank you, Joel McHale. So I think so why do they need a voice? So Bravo and Cocktails, which y'all know is one of my news sources, they had posted, oh, now this makes sense because in February, they get all the scoop. They had posted that she was part of the villain cast. Teresa Guidice is, and she's not. She's the voice of it. So she's like, who's back? And I'm like, yes. Michael Riley says, okay, and I don't want to sound snotty about this, but I just want to say these housewives are supposed to be aspirational. They're supposed to have probably more money than the majority of the audience, correct? Michael Riley says you don't rent a house and have that kind of jewelry. So why does Meredith and Seth keep renting houses instead of buying? It's not like they're moving from city to city and it doesn't make sense. In general, depending on the housing market and the interest rates and the blah, 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 where you buy, what kind of investment, blah, blah, blah. In general, even if you resell a house in 3 years, it's better than renting and not getting any of that money, right? So if they are rich enough, aspirational enough to qualify for Salt Lake City, why don't they own a house? Why did Jen Shaw rent a fancier house? Season 1. Fake. I'm human, not happy says, I know what you're going to say. I used to think they didn't need Monica, but I don't know. Now I feel like they do. I wasn't impressed with the premiere. Andy Cohen was raving about it the day of, yesterday morning. On today's, he raved, oh my God, it was so good. Andy Cohen said, I loved that the whole premiere for the first time ever took place at one location. Well, I don't like that. I don't think you need a whole hour of the Bezos party. Like an hour of it? Like it wasn't that amazing. They pretty much had some drinks outside. Bitch talked about what kind of coats everybody wore. Went inside, ate dinner, and Mary made fun of everybody for eating meat because that shit's going to stay in her body for months and, whatever. Like, what? I don't know what else I wanted to happen, and I did not. Y'all know I don't like watching. My head is itching right there. Y'all know I don't like watching these 3 or 7 minute long previews of the season. So I didn't watch that because I don't want to ruin it for me. So I don't know what Gimme Joy says, didn't she explain that when she was on Jeff Lewis Live? I forget the details, something like she's never in any one place for too long. But that's what I've been talking about. They are at least in, like, I think they have a rental in an apartment, maybe in Chicago, because he works in Chicago. I get it. But, her 2 kids are now out of school in college. I think Brooks is out of college, so or of age. Anyways, they're not there for the school district, I'm saying. But it still makes more financial sense to own a house. If you're rich enough to be on a housewife show, you got to be able to own a house. And it better not be a piece of crap, because I can look at I actually like my house, but Bravo and Stone said they need Monica. She made them interesting. It was the absolute, of course, I am kicking myself. Is anyone on here, live or the replay, did anyone in real time, when that whole troll, finsta, whatever you want to call it, was going on? Apparently she had one, and then they had to make it part 2 because the other one got shut down for bullying. I was never on it. But when it all came out and I went to look at it, what was it called? Now I forgot what it was called. Some weird name. What was the Monica and her real, all that finsta, where they were posting stuff and riling them up and tagging them and all this negativity and stuff. It had like 3,000 followers. I'm like, it's not even a big account. I mean, who was even paying attention to it? It was so weird. I mean, and I guess it's down now, but it was the first time we had ever had kind of Reality Von Tease. Thank you so much. Reality Von Tease 2 was the one that they got caught with. But why we never knew of trolls, or we never knew how much interaction they do. Now it's all come out. Like New Jersey's having their own field day with like how much interaction, how much of the puppeteering do the Bravo celebrities have over some fan accounts by giving them juicy insider information during filming, and then they turned on them, and now these fan accounts are the opposite. So they used to be like Team Melissa and Margaret, and now they're Team Melissa and Teresa, or they were Teresa and now they're Melissa and Margaret. Interessante, eh? Lisa Loves Dog says, I didn't know how to say it or spell it. Yes, reality. And then it was VON, and then I think TEASE or something like that. It was weird. No, we're just about to discuss Jeff Lewis. We've gotten into it. Layla says, did you discuss Jeff Lewis live? No. By the way, my format of my self-produced, live show is kind of intro, welcome, blah, 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 what's going on. And then any celebrity news, and then whatever reality TV show I happen to get a chance to watch, or that I'm telling y'all to watch. Maybe like last night I gave you the homework assignment to watch Salt Lake City so we can chat that. And then I do Jeff Lewis, and then I do an extended, and then we open it up to questions. So, and we try to go about an hour. Sometimes it's 51 minutes. Sometimes it's an hour 6. It just depends. Yes, Bravo and Stone said to find out that Monica leaked the security video of Jim was epic. Yes. So Monica, y'all call me a stalker? Shoot, this girl. Because she was Jen's assistant for a while, she had access to her security codes and her security videos, and she kept that on her phone. And she would apparently drive by her house for whatever reason, see if her car was there, see if she was out drinking and driving or something, right? Remember all that mess? It's all kind of coming back to me. But she had access to the videos of the police all coming and arresting, well, not arresting, but they detained her son or sons that were there. Crazy. Wait, Sarah Lee says, I don't mind paying taxes because so much of it goes to schools and the environment. I don't have kids in school, but the children are the future. We can say the children are the future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Oh my God. Okay, that was my Lisa shouldn't be a singer, just like Sarah from Texas should not be a singer. I'm Human says, did you catch how the guest on Watch What Happens Live, which was Lisa Barlow and Molly Sims, told Lisa not to get that CO2 laser that Tamara just got? Yes. I mean, because Molly Sims, who has Wise Beauty, YSE Beauty, who she hawked it at the end and gave a really awkward kind of like, oh, Andy, I wanted to tell you. Maybe it was on the after show. I can't remember, but it was like, oh, I wanted to give the Bravo fans like a 15% off. It was kind of weird. It was awkward because no one ever hawks their shit on that show. I feel like it's not for that. You know what I mean? Anyways, again, I just felt like Molly Sims was off on it. Like her facial features, lack of facial features, whatever. But yeah, she also told Lisa Barlow not to do the Tamra thing, the CO2. And Lisa Barlow has a October 28th appointment to get that done. So she's going to chat with her about it. But what was with this ring that I guess some company, I don't think I wrote it down. It was called like Rings R Us or something. I think she did a collab with some jewelry company. Lisa's reaction was like it was real gold and diamonds. Now, I have no idea. They didn't exactly show it. Looked like a band, but it fit her and everything. So I'm like, did she know about this? Did she know what size finger she wears? It was awkward. I'm like, why are you giving her a ring? She just told us she didn't even lose the ring. Like, y'all aren't friends. Like, especially if it was diamond and gold, why are you giving such a ring? Andy says the ring had to be costume jewelry, but didn't you see her amazing reaction? She even replied in the Bravo Watch What Happens Live Instagram video, or maybe it was YouTube, something about like, and tagged Molly Sims, like, oh my gosh, she was so nice. Thank you for the ring. And I was like, why would you give that? And she was like, she's the only person to ever give me jewelry except for my husband. So I'm like, her parents, her in-laws, her sister-in-laws, her family, her kids, they're all like, oh, great. This stranger to you, Molly Sims, is getting credit for, giving you a ring. I thought it was awkward. Okay. We got 8 minutes-ish. Let's get into today's Jeff Lewis Live. What the hell? Another like bailout. Tyler Henry was supposed to be on stage with Liz Rome. He was sick or something. He canceled. Reza to the rescue, which was really good because Jeff says, look, I like when Tyler Henry comes, but he's a whole different person than Reza. Reza, I knew I was going to laugh, and I did. So that's what he said on Jeff Lewis Extended. They talked a lot about Liz Rome's movies, like the recent one that's going to come out. She does a lot of true crime based on real stuff, obviously, but a lot of times they are, what do you want to call it? A Lifetime movie about it. So it's actors, it's reenactments, but based on all the true whatever. There's been some pretty heavy topics, and Jeff joking about them. I'm like, dude, Liz Rome was like, these are very serious topics. You know what I mean? Oh, hey, Kimberly. She's normally a replay crew catching the last few minutes. Hi. I love when you say that. Hi. Yes. Lori says, that's why I love costume jewelry, because if you lose it, who cares? But you know what? I had a costume jewelry. I still have the ring. I had the matching earrings, and I think I lost the earrings, and they were the best fakes. I forget the name of the brand. It was one of those brands my neighbors was selling, Premier Jewelry or something like that. It was so beautiful, and it was also very antique in style, so it wasn't like glitzy and flashy. It was very, oh my gosh. I wonder if I still have the earrings. I don't know. I still have the ring. And people would compliment me on the ring if I wore it. And I'd be like, oh, it's fake. And they're like, well, you don't have to tell people. I'm like, no. I'm not going to let you think I've got, because it looks like an engagement ring. It's very like looks like a 1930s engagement ring, like a round big diamond with like small diamonds around it, but it's all fake. But that is probably, I don't even like that neighbor anymore. Oh, did I say that out loud? Yes, I did. Not an immediate neighbor. And it was some party, like a party thing where you buy it, you know what I mean? And you go and you promote shit and you just buy it. But this a long time ago, but the earrings and ring were really top quality. Was that what it was called? Premier Jewelry? Yeah, Lori says I have some Premier. Oh my gosh, I'll try to wear the ring tomorrow and find the earrings after the show. So good. I didn't really write a lot of notes about the show. They definitely talked about Salt Lake City. No, they didn't talk about Salt Lake City, which I was kind of surprised about. But Jeff did talk about Fan Social, the app. I think he said it's launching October 14th. So that was a date that he gave us. This caller, shout out Houston. I want to say her name was Sherry, but I don't remember. Whoever it was on the Jeff Lewis Extended show, she called and they were like, hello, Sherry, you're on the air, or whatever they said. And I think she said, "Oh, I have the wrong number." And they were like, "Oh my God, you have the wrong number." Okay. Give a thumbs up in comments, replay or live, if you've ever called in to Andy Cohen, to Radio Andy. If you have, you chat with them and tell them where you're from, what your name is, and then what a little bit of what your question or comment is about, so they know if they want to take it or not, basically. You might wait on hold 3 minutes. You might wait on hold 30 minutes. You may never get picked up, just depending on if they want to take the call, or they're not going to hang up on you and you say, "No, we're not interested." They just will make you sit on hold. So when you're doing that, you hear Jeff Lewis, the show. So as that, all of a sudden on the radio in your phone, you hear, "Hi, Sarah," or whatever. What do they say? "Hello, Sarah from Texas. What's your question?" Or whatever. "How are you today?" Whatever they say. I can't even think of it. So this lady they kind of explained it a little bit more, and Jameson kind of explained it a little more. When Jeff asked Naya if there's a delay, there is kind of a half-second delay. That's why you hear them talking over each other sometimes, because it is the radio and you can't see each other. So sometimes Jeff will be saying something and then the caller saying something. Even like today, Doug was talking, and I think Liz started talking whenever Doug called in. So it's interesting, though. It's nerve-wracking to call in. It's fun, but everyone that tells me they call in, they are like, "Oh my God, I was so nervous." I don't know why TikTok will be freezing. My thing looks fine, but I don't know. You can join us over on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube if you want. Anyways. Oh, yes. Well, we'll get into questions at the very end, but we're almost done, because unless y'all want to chat about Jeff Lewis Extended. Chatty Cathy says, "I like Reza and MJ. Their breakup was hard to watch. I hear they've kind of made up." I think they have kind of made up. I think it's very clear that Reza and Tommy haven't exactly had a makeup. They were the ones kind of fighting. And then MJ, of course, took her husband's side, Tommy. So, like, he wasn't there whenever she had Shamps and she was in the hospital. And I think he was premature. I mean, all the things she was dealing with as a new mom, he wasn't there as a friend because they were on the outs. But the caller from Houston was so funny. I guess she was in line to get her prescription from Walgreens, and I don't know, she was hilarious. Jeff gave us a lot of updates about his dating. He is loving Hinge. I don't know. He did not give the name of this guy that I heard. The guy that like travels from Mexico, but he's like 47, super cute. He didn't even know that Jeff has a kid. The fact that he didn't know that tells me Liat and Kelly Wagner are longtime friends. They were the co-host on Extended. So they've known and met and dissected and liked and hated every person Jeff's ever dated, probably since he's been a gay man. Because remember, he was into girls till after college, or at least publicly, as far as we know that. But anyways, he's dating some guy that grew up with money. He's very established, very well-spoken. I think he has his own career, but he's like a musician, but not for money. Has a house, I think, in LA, has a house in Mexico. So I don't know. I think all could be good, but Jeff's dating a couple people. Like, he's just I think he's very quick to be like, that's a friend zone, which he's okay with. I mean, friends are great. It gives them content for the radio. He did say that one more person, a couple of people this week have asked him if he is on Hinge just for radio content. And I was like, oh, wow. Al, okay, we'll open up to questions for a second. Elle says, "What about Jeff and Bravo? Is he coming back?" I don't know. He hasn't given us any updates at all. He hasn't talked about going to meetings. He hasn't talked about anything other than saying Hollywood Housewives season 3 is dead in the water, ain't coming back. She died, girl. Chatty Cathy says, "MJ did the right thing, in my opinion. She wanted to be loyal to Tommy in her marriage." Yes. I love that. Mary E has gotten through to Andy Cohen and Jeff Lewis Extended. I love that. Were you nervous? Like, even I will have an idea of what I'm going to say, but sometimes Jeff will say something else and it makes you say something else. Or Andy Cohen, what did Andy Cohen go off on me about recently? I called in one time to basically say that I hope he extends Jeff Lewis or something. And he went off. Basically, he likes to go off on me. I just give my opinion. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm a loyal listener of Radio Andy. I feel like he needs notes sometimes, and I give it to him. So he doesn't tend to like them, though. Mama says, this has been such a fun week. I loved, who's Reza? I loved yesterday's guest. I'm so excited for Emily. Yes, tomorrow is Emily Simpson and not Shane. Maybe he'll be there and we'll see him on video, but he'll be there with Doug Buden, so that'll be fun. Mama says, I've had enough of Kristen Tateman. I find her really annoying. Kristen Tateman hasn't even been on a lot lately because she's been traveling a lot this summer. So you're probably really not going to like her once she's on more often now that her kids are back in schools. Wait, did he say that? Yvonne Cal says, I was thrilled when he said he is potentially doing a flipping out 2.0. I mean, has he said that, or I've said, I hope he's doing that? You know what I mean? I don't think he wants to go back to flipping out. I don't think he wants to be that vulnerable and show that side of himself. I want to see him. I want to see the brutal honesty. I want to see on video how he really responded to Maria about the closet being messy and about the lamp being turned around, and then Aurora, and then that, I want to see all that stuff. Remember how he said a while back he got mad at one of the nannies like a year ago? I want to hear, what does he say and what does he do? What is his idea of flipping out at a 54-year-old Jeff Lewis? You know what I mean? Interesting. Someone says he did mention, I guess I'm forgetting. I guess I'm manifesting it. I hope that made it come happy. Okay, Rachel says, do we think that Andy was the one who texted Jeff, you have a big mouth? Did he say that today and I missed it? So 2 summers ago, summer 2023? Yeah, not this summer, but the summer before, Jeff Lewis and Andy Cohen were definitely in a public spat about Jeff reading some of Andy Cohen's texts on the radio. And Andy was definitely not happy about that and pretty much had to tell him, look, I shouldn't have to tell you that reading my private text messages is not okay with me. I feel like if we have a conversation or a text, that is something that's not meant to be said around. Jeff was like, oh, sorry. So I don't remember. But it wouldn't shock me. I mean, I think they mentioned yesterday or today something about, well, let's text Andy and ask him. So if Andy was listening or somebody, a mutual friend was listening, Jim, what's his name? Jim, whatever that guy's name, Tim Johnson, Jim Thompson, whatever his name is. He could have texted Andy and been like, Jeff's talking about you. I don't know. Oh my God. And I've met Vanina. She's so nice. Lori 909 says, remember when he told Vanina that she wasn't peeing on his toilet correctly? And who was crying? Was it Sarah? Was it Carrie Lewis's sister, Sarah, that came in really upset about something? And she went to fix her makeup and I mean, dang, flipping out was so good. Not so good for Jeff's image, but so good, so good. Anyways, Tiffany Chump says, no, it's about what he was talking about today about a potential show. And I don't think it was Andy. Okay. I'm about 10 minutes left of Jeff Lewis Extended. So was it on that? Did I miss something? Because I didn't get to finish it yet. I had to pause something to do something. Wait, what? Lauren Lakin says, are you going to make America great again? America is great. Anyways, we don't do politics here if you're trying to get into politics. Okay. Thank you so much for joining live. If you're watching as a replay, shout out. Thank you so much. Make sure you're following me everywhere at Sarah from Texas Podcast. Hit the thumbs up button. Thank you, Hannah Grace, for the reminder. Tap the screen. Y'all were not tapping over on TikTok today. Losers, less than 4,000. Get better tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow is Emily. What's on Bravo tonight? What's on Thursdays now? I can't even remember. Anyways, whatever it is, I'll watch it, or I'll watch a 90 Day or something that we'll chat about. I can't even think of it. Or listen to me as a podcast at Sarah from Texas. And I will see you tomorrow. Same place, same time, 3:00 Eastern time. Bye, TikTok. Bye, Instagram. Bye, YouTube and Facebook.